Namo Buddhaya, Namo Amitabha. Hello everyone. So today I feel like talking about depression. Depression is a serious problem in today's society and many people are suffered from depression. I also shared in one of my earliest videos that I talk about how I also suffered from depression in my early 20s and eventually overcame it. So in this video I feel like talking about depression. So what is depression? Depression is a series of negative thoughts that sort of create this vicious cycle in our mind that can make us feel really down and make us feel like we don't have any energy about life. And also it can make us sort of feel like we lost all the interest about the things that we would normally have about life. So of course there are different types of depression, but in essence it's created by a series of negative thoughts. It's stemmed from our mind. I found the negative thoughts that create this vicious cycle of negativity in us. And these negative thoughts can even include, in some cases, suicidal thoughts. So what I say here may not necessarily make your depression go away, as everyone is different. But hopefully, maybe it can help you somehow manage your depression and to help you relieve from depression. So if you're currently experiencing depression and also anxiety and all this, we need to immediately see that your thoughts and your emotions, they're not the real you. Yes, they're created by your mind, but they do not represent the real you. We need to somehow try to jump out from this loop of negativity and just perceive our thoughts like a third-party person. It's like you are watching a movie. This could be a horror movie. You may be a bit terrified by your own horror movie, but know that this is just a movie. I do not be attached to what's happening in the movie. I try to perceive all your thoughts, your emotions like a third party and do not identify with them. If we are not attached to them, we're not identified with them, we're not tricked by them, then they are powerless on us. They cannot take over us. And this is where we can have the power to change it. This is not easy to do, and it also takes practice. So mindfulness and meditation practices can help relieve depression. It's not just me saying that. There's a lot of studies and research, including like by Harvard University. They also prove that mindfulness and meditation can really help relieve depression. So why is that? Whenever you become aware of your mind, and if you know how to transform your thoughts, and you know how to jump out from these illusions of thoughts. So why they're illusions? Because they exist temporarily. They're not permanent. So that's why we call it illusions in Buddhism. If we can somehow jump out from the thoughts of illusions and just perceive them like a third party, then you will not be affected by the illusions. If you know that you're simply just watching a movie, maybe it's a horror movie, but you know, if it's just a movie, then you will not be so much affected by what's happening in a movie. And there are many different methods to help us transform our thoughts, to jump out from these thoughts of illusions. So Amitabha recitation is also a helpful meditation to help us transform our thoughts. Whenever you realize that, again, you're being trapped in these negative thoughts, I just simply perceive them and then recite the name of Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha. Or you could recite other mantras, whatever you find that can help you to transform your thoughts. So when you recite the name of Amitabha, you use your own ears to hear your own recitations. Then you're locking your hearing as well. So you will be less distracted by what's happening in your mind. And when you shift your focus, that's how you can jump out from the loop of negativity. So So just do like Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha to help you transform your negative thoughts into the name of Amitabha, which means infinite light and life, like the Buddha nature that we all share. Of course, this is a moment-to-moment practice, a moment-to-moment awareness, especially for people who are more prone to negative thinking, who are more easily trapped in negative thoughts. You actually need to do this more often. This is really a moment-to-moment awareness. Whenever you are not aware, then again you are being trapped in the illusions created by the mind. So do not be trapped by any thoughts, by any of your emotions. Just simply perceive them as they are and try to transform them into a positivity. I'm not going to say, try to think positively. It can be difficult for some people, and some people can be quite skeptical, cynical about this. I just use any mindfulness meditation practice that you find that can help you. So Amitabha recitation is an easy one. It's easy to apply. You can apply it whenever, wherever, whenever you are aware that you are being trapped in negativity. That's how you can apply it. And just go like Amitabha, 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 and do it as many times as you need, as often as you need to help you jump out of negativity. Now, there are also some people who practice mindfulness meditation, but they're still depressed. So why is that? Because everyone is different. Some people, they're just much more prone to negative thinking than others. And for this kind of people, they really need more practice. They need more moment-to-moment awareness. Just trust yourself that the power actually lies inside of you to change the situation. It can be changed. You can be better if you're willing to put into the hard work. And also, of course, seek the help, whatever you need. Try to seek help, and also apply this mindfulness meditation practice to help you manage your depression. Do not let any of the illusional thoughts to take over you. If you don't give attention to them, you simply perceive them like a third party, then they cannot take over you. They are powerless on you. And also, do not commit suicide. It's really not necessary. Think about it. We're all gonna die one day. It's not necessary for us to commit suicide. And depending on your age, how much time we have left here on earth in this physical body is actually not so long. So don't bother yourself to commit suicide. Don't bother yourself to do this stupid act. There are many ways to die, but suicide is not a good way to die. Because if you believe that we are not just this physical body, then death, committing suicide, cannot actually help you relieve from suffering. So do not commit suicide. And also when you commit suicide, you can bring more suffering to the people around you, and it can be quite selfish too. And also it will not help you solve any problems. Suicide is not a way to end sufferings. If you believe that we are not just this physical body, and we are clearly not just this physical body. So do not commit suicide. So I'll also share a little bit of how I sort of overcame the depression. So when I experienced the sudden death of my father, I really fell into a period of depression. And I went to counseling. It didn't work for me. Now, I'm not trying to deny counseling. It could be really good for others, but just not in my particular case. I didn't feel comfortable to share my experience with like a stranger. So it didn't work on me. And I didn't want to take any antidepressants because I was too worried about the side effects of the medicine, what it might do on my mind. But eventually what sort of helped me was this realization. I just really crying 3 months in my apartment, like feeling really down, really tired. I all the time have no energy in life, including having suicidal thoughts. But of course, I was not brave enough to commit suicide, and luckily I didn't. So, but what helped me was really this realization that my thoughts, my emotions, they're not me. I just sort of see that I was not a Buddhist yet, but just somehow this realization that my thoughts and my emotions, they're not me, and everything here is impermanent, and I'm gonna die also one day. If I'm not gonna commit suicide, which I was not gonna do that, because I was gonna die anyway, so it's not necessary, then that just left me with two choices: either getting busy with depression for the rest of my life, or get busy with life. So I chose the latter. And at that time, I was in my final year of bachelor, and I want to go into law school. So that sort of gave me enough reason to get busy with life, to shift my focus. I didn't know anything about meditation or mindfulness, but I just shift my focus. Instead of focusing on all those negative thoughts in my mind, I shift my focus into, preparing for exams, how to get into law school, etc. And that somehow just made my depression faded. Of course, I'll still experience negative thoughts in my mind. In my uni, I sometimes really down. But if we can somehow realize that those thoughts and emotions are temporary and they're not the true self, then they cannot really take over us. And this is where we can have the power to change our thoughts. So I know for people who are more prone to negative thinking, maybe they overcame a depression, but then later in their life, the depression could come back. So this is really a moment-to-moment awareness. Whenever you are not aware, again, we are being trapped in our negative thoughts. Our mind is also like our body. It needs to be exercised. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we practice meditation, then the stronger, the greater our awareness is. And the more we are aware of the thoughts, the emotions in our mind. And if we see how they're all emptiness in nature, which means that they don't have a permanent fixed nature, that they're changing all the time. So they're illusions in essence, and do not be attached to them. If you can understand this, and also apply your meditation technique, for me it's Amitabha recitation, it can really help you to transform your thoughts from negativity into infinite light and life. And do this really a lot every day, moment to moment if you can. It may be difficult, but just whenever you feel that you're being trapped in activity, I remember to apply your mantra, to apply your practice to help you jump out of the illusion and just to perceive things as they are. If you don't give attention, if you don't give energy to them, if you're not attached to them, then they're powerless on you, and they cannot do anything to you. And trust in yourself that you really do have the power within you, that you are the master of your own destiny. The destiny is in your own hands, in your mind, depending on how you apply your thoughts. So this mind can be a dangerous master or a beautiful servant, depending on how you apply your thoughts. So I hope this helps. And just remember, do not be attached to your illusion of thoughts. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Amitabha.